time to download and install the software that we're going to be using. It might be tempting to go find the Java development kit right away. But before we do that, let's go to Apache NetBeans website. That is netbeans.apache.org. NetBeans is maintained by the Apache organization. It used to be owned by Oracle, and they turned it over to the public, and it's maintained by the public now. Lots of programmers get together and they commit features. Let's go to their downloads page. So up here in the top right corner, we can click download. And it might be tempting to come on here and download the first link we see. This is Apache NetBeans 12 Feature Update 4. Right here we see Apache NetBeans 12 LTS, NetBeans 12.0. These three letters, LTS, are important. Long-term support. That means this is a very stable version of NetBeans. It doesn't have any experimental features. It's going to have less bugs. It's going to be maintained. If they find something wrong with it, they'll issue patches. Future versions, that may not be the case. So there could be a couple new features in this. Matter of fact, let's look at Feature Update 4. Click on Features. And the first thing it tells us is the long-term support release of Apache's NetBeans 12 cycle is NetBeans 12.0. The 12.4 release has not been tested as heavily as the long-term support release and may be less stable. Use 12.4 to use the latest features and to provide current feedback for the next long-term support release. So this is for people who are experienced programmers. They're helping test it, and they're going to submit back bug tickets and help write patches. If we don't need those new features, we shouldn't be using that version. And the fact of the matter is, this is an introductory programming course. You're not going to come anywhere close to probably needing any of the features that might have changed between version 12 and version 12.4. So we are going to download the Apache NetBeans long-term support version. Anytime we download software from class, we always try to use long-term support versions because we don't want to have to spend a lot of time during our lab trying to figure out problems that are really caused by our editor and not our own programming ability. You're going to have enough of those bugs without having to worry about having bugs in the software you're using. All right, so NetBeans 12 long-term support is what we're going to get. Let's go to the downloads link and take a look at its requirements. Deployment platforms. Apache NetBeans 12.0 runs on the Java development kit long-term. We want the LTS version of the Java development kit too with long-term support. It runs on releases 8 and 11 and JDK 14, which is not an LTS version. Okay, so I said we should always pick the LTS version when we install. But we'll probably install LTS 11 when we go to install the Java development kit. Okay. So when we get to the Java development kit, you'll see they're on version 16, but version 16 of the Java development kit, NetBeans doesn't support it yet. So be aware of that before you start downloading different versions of Java. What are you going to use it with, and what versions do you need in order for them to work well together? All right. So NetBeans 12 long-term support. Let's click the download link. I guess that took us back where we were at. We want to use the installer, and we want the Windows version, which is this first one right here. Apache NetBeans 12.0 Windows 64-bit version. So we'll click on that, and it shows us places to download it. Click the first link there under HTTP, and we'll wait, and it will download. All right, while that's downloading, let's go get Java, because now we know what Java platforms we can use too. So I just type in Google Java JDK. It's the easiest way to get to the site. Java SE downloads. We'll click on that. Java SE 16. If you remember, we decided that Java SE 16 probably isn't the best because NetBeans only worked with 8, 11, and 14 so far. The very, very latest version, that version number 4 of 12.4 or whatever, probably does work with 16. However, it's not stable. And if you look, this version of Java may not be stable either, because Java 11 was the last version with long-term support. So that's the version we're going to install. We're going to install the long-term support version because we know it works with NetBeans. We know it's going to be stable. And over here, we can just hit the JDK download. And down here, we have our different packages. We're not running Linux. We're not running Mac. We're running Windows 64-bit installer. That's the one we want, next to the last in the list. So I'll click that. I clicked I'll accept the license agreement for Oracle Java SE. Oracle might ask you to create an account with them, in which case you use your school information, your school address, your school email, and create an account with Oracle. We'll be using Oracle throughout the year for different things, so you will need access to their site. Basically, they'll probably send you to your school email, if you use your school email, an ad once in a while telling you how great Java is. It won't be a ton. So download JDK, and there's where it's going to ask you to log in. And if you don't have one, you're going to hit create account and go through that process. So I'm going to go ahead and sign in. And my download has started. In the next videos, we'll actually install these two things. Now that we know where to get them, and you should have them downloaded, I'll go through the installation in the next video.